Every night, I fall asleep in my bed and wake up inside a dying stranger, a drowning teen, a woman on life support, a corpse mid-autopsy. And now, the faces I wear are starting to remember me. They say if I don't stop it, I'll disappear. Forever. This is the story of how I lost myself to something that calls itself the Echo Route. Part 1. The First Switch. You ever have one of those dreams so vivid, so real, that it takes hours to shake it? Maybe days. That wasn't a dream. I woke up in a body that wasn't mine. The first thing I remember is the beeping. Slow, rhythmic, a heart monitor, I think. Then the weight in my limbs like sandbags pressing me down. My throat was dry. My eyes stung from fluorescent lights overhead. And there was a priest. He was standing beside me, beside her, murmuring Latin, clutching a crucifix so tight his knuckles went white. I tried to speak. My mouth barely moved. When it did, the voice that came out wasn't mine. It was softer, cracked with age. A woman's voice. Panic punched through my chest. I looked down. Pale arms. Wrinkled, liver spots, tubes taped to the skin, hospital gown, a catheter, and hands that trembled like they didn't belong to me. I tried to move, but my body wouldn't listen. Only my fingers twitched. The priest kept going, his eyes never quite meeting mine. I wanted to scream, "Stop, I'm not dying, I'm not her," but the words never came. Just dry, rasping breaths. Then, something else. A shape in the corner. I saw it just for a second. A shadow hunched in the room's far edge, motionless, like it was listening, watching. And when the priest glanced toward it, he flinched, but he didn't stop. He said the last rites. Then I closed my eyes, just for a moment. And I woke up, in my bed, my body, my room. Everything felt normal, too normal. I sat up, gasping, drenched in sweat. My mouth tasted like dust. My sheets were soaked, like I'd been running a fever. I stumbled to the bathroom, checked the mirror. Still me, still Thomas Vale, 36. No hospital gown, no priest, no strange woman's body. Just a dream, right? I wanted to believe that. God, I wanted to believe that. Until I looked at my phone. Dozens of photos. Not of me. Not my life. A hospital room. A priest. Blurry. A hospital wristband that read, Marlene Hoyt. Close-up shots of trembling hands. A monitor flatlining. A toe tag. I don't remember taking them. I couldn't have taken them. And yet, there they were. I scrolled in silence, my heart trying to crawl up my throat. I checked the metadata on the photos, time-stamped between 2:03 and 3:41 a.m. I was asleep, wasn't I? The worst part? In the corner of one of the images, just barely visible, was a shadow. That same hunched figure, the one I saw in the room. It had no face, just folds of black, like tattered fabric in a wind that wasn't there. I drove to the hospital that morning. I didn't shower, didn't change clothes, just keys, phone, wallet, and an ache behind my eyes that throbbed with something I couldn't name. The front desk clerk was pleasant, too pleasant. "Good morning, sir. Can I help you?" I asked about Marlene Hoyt. I didn't give details, just a name. She typed, paused, typed again, brow furrowed. "I'm sorry, we don't have a patient by that name." I leaned in, voice lower. "Not even one who passed recently? Overnight?" She shook her head. "We have no record of anyone named Marlene Hoyt." "Are you sure you have the right hospital?" I showed her my phone. The photos were gone, just gone, replaced with black squares, like they'd burned out, like they were never there. "Sir, if this is some kind of joke." I left. I didn't say anything else. What could I say? That I'd woken up as a dying woman while a shadow watched from the corner. That I felt the priest's breath, smelled the hospital antiseptic. heard her heartbeat flatline in my ears. No one would believe it. Hell, I barely did. But that night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Because somewhere in the edge of my memory, not quite a dream, not quite a thought, I remembered something. Not from my life. A boy's name, Alan, and the soft whispered words of a dying woman. Tell, my son, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave him alone. But I don't have a son, and I've never known a Marlene in my life. Not until now. Not until whatever this is started. And I don't think it's finished. I think it was just the first switch. Part 2, the ones that don't wake up. Thomas Vale. I don't sleep anymore, not the way I used to. I used to close my eyes and drift. Now I disappear, every night, like clockwork. My body vanishes, and my soul is dropped into someone else's skin like a bad joke God forgot to explain. It started small, subtle. One night, I was a woman named Marlene in a hospital bed. I thought it was a dream, but it wasn't. There were photos on my phone the next day. The priest's face, the IV drip, her hand, my hand, thin, veined, trembling. She died that night, and yet I woke up. The next night, it happened again. Thomas Vale. A teenage boy, maybe 17. I could feel the panic before I even opened my eyes. We were underwater, ice above, breath gone, arms flailing. I screamed, but it was all bubbles. He died there, under the ice. So did I, except I didn't. I always return, back in my bed, in my apartment. But something is always different. That next morning, I turned on the TV. The news anchor was smiling, cheerful. But there was no mention of the drowning, no search party, no grieving family. As if he never existed. Thomas Vale. Then came the man in the car wreck. I woke mid-impact. Glass, screaming, screeching tires. His ribs broke into my lungs. I couldn't breathe, couldn't even scream. Just the sound of blood filling my throat. But I lived, because I always do. And again, nothing in the news, no obituary, no report, just silence. Thomas Vale. Every night, the same thing. A new body, a new death. I stopped telling people. Who would believe me? I started keeping a journal. Drawing. Faces I remembered. Names I overheard. I even emailed a few. Old accounts. Addresses from business cards I saw in wallets. Every email bounced back. As if they never existed. Thomas Vale. I started testing it. I left a note in one of the bodies. Pockets. Just my name and number. Thomas Vale. Call me. The next day, I waited by the phone. It never rang, but the pen I used was gone from my desk. Thomas Vale. Sometimes, I wonder if I'm stealing them. If my soul pushes them out, replaces them, and they die because I lived. It's always closer now. Each body more broken than the last. Closer to the moment of death, as if something is rushing me toward a conclusion I don't understand. Last night, I became a man in a nursing home. Couldn't move, couldn't speak. Just stare at the ceiling while something sat beside the bed and whispered, "Stay." I blinked and woke in my own room. My mouth tasted like pills I never took. My hands shook like his. Thomas Vale. And now we come to tonight. I felt it before I even opened my eyes. Cold, sterile, wrong. The smell of antiseptic. A soft beeping, and voices, muffled, professional. I opened my eyes, or tried to. The ceiling above me was a fluorescent blur. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, only feel. And then I heard it. Y incision beginning. Thomas Vale. They were cutting into me. I wasn't unconscious. I wasn't dead. I felt everything. screamed, but it never left my throat. I was paralyzed inside a corpse, a body that wasn't ready to die, or maybe one that hadn't. Thomas Vale. The last thing I saw was the coroner's eyes, confused. He said, "Did this one just blink?" Then I woke up here, in my bed, in my body, but my chest hurts, like it remembers the scalpel. Thomas Vale. Something is happening to me, something wrong. I think I'm being erased, not all at once, but slowly, body by body, death by death, and I don't think I'm alone. There's something waiting on the other side of this, something that doesn't want me to stop, and it's almost night again. Thomas Vale. I don't think I'll come back tomorrow. Not all of me anyway. Part 3. The Echo Route. Thomas Vale. I stopped sleeping, not because I was afraid of the dreams, but because I was afraid they weren't dreams at all. Every night I become someone else, feel their terror, their confusion, their death. And every morning I wake up in my apartment, but it's not the same apartment anymore. Yesterday, my bookshelf had a row of books on photography. Today, it's surgery manuals. And the mirror, I swear it wasn't cracked before. But now there's a fracture, right through the center, like it's trying to split my reflection in half. And then the symbols started showing up, scrawled in, condensation on the bathroom mirror, etched into the back of a cereal box, burned into the toast, always the same. A root with 7 branches, curling like fingers. I didn't draw them. At least, I don't think I did. I started looking for answers, searching every corner of the internet. Hours of scrolling through dead forums and conspiracy boards. Most of it was garbage, the usual ghost stories, creepypasta. But then I found a thread titled, "The Echo Route, Shared Mind, Shared Doom." 3 users had posted, 2 were banned, the 3rd was still active. Username, memloss88. They talked about a parasite, not physical, something cognitive, something that infects memory, jumps consciousness, feeds off identity. The Echo Route. One post said, "It doesn't need to kill you, it just needs to remember you. Once it knows your pattern, it can become you. You don't die, you dissolve." I thought it was bullshit until I saw the photo. It was grainy, black and white. A man sitting in a chair, blurry face. But the build, the hair, the posture, it was me from 10 years ago. No username, no caption, just the image. Posted 6 days before I ever went searching. I don't remember that photo being taken. I don't remember ever wearing that shirt. And yet, when I looked in my closet, there it was, hanging at the back, faded and cold. That night, I heard something moving in the walls. It whispered my name, but not the way I say it, not how anyone has ever said it. It dragged it out, like it was tasting the syllables. Thomas. I followed the sound to my closet, moved the clothes aside, and found a hole behind the drywall, like something had clawed it open from the inside. There was a tape recorder inside, old, dusty, covered in fingerprints that weren't mine. I pressed play. "My name is Thomas Vale," the voice said. It was my voice, the same cadence, the same breathing patterns, only it was cracked, tired, like someone who hadn't slept in years. "If you're hearing this," the voice said, "then it's already inside you." I dropped the recorder. It kept playing. The Echo Route doesn't kill the body. It eats the soul. Every night you change, every morning you forget. That's it, crawling deeper, stealing your past, growing stronger. One day, you'll wake up and you won't come back. You'll just be one more mask on its branch. The tape ended with static. And then, something laughed, low, guttural, not from the recorder, from behind me. I turned, and there, in the mirror, was someone else wearing my face, smiling with my mouth, eyes completely black. It raised its hand. Same scars, same nail. It waved at me, then blinked and vanished. But the mirror stayed cracked. Now, every reflection shows something slightly off. A twitch, a delay, a second version of me, just half a frame behind. I think it's learning. I think it's practicing. Tonight, when I sleep, I'll be someone else again. But what happens when it learns to stay? What happens when I'm the one who gets left behind? Thomas Vale. I keep scratching the symbols into the wall, over and over. 7 branches, 1 root. Maybe if I understand them, I can stop it. Or maybe I already did this. Maybe this is the 10th time. Maybe this is the 100th. And maybe, just maybe, I'm not Thomas Vale at all. Tonight I fell asleep early, and I just woke up in my own bed. But my hands are covered in blood, and there's someone lying on the floor, wearing my face, still breathing, still twitching, and in their hand, a tape recorder. Part 4, The Lives I Shouldn't Know, Thomas Vale. I woke up remembering a funeral. A casket, small, white, rain tapping on an umbrella I wasn't holding. A little girl's face I couldn't place, and the sound of my own voice, whispering. Her name, Ava, but I've never had children. There are no photos, no birth certificates, no memories that make sense. Just the weight of loss sitting in my chest like an anchor. It's happening more often now. The bleeding between lives. I'll reach for a light switch and find myself gripping a knife. I'll hear a song on the radio and suddenly remember where I buried someone. People on the street smile and call me by names I've never answered to. Detective, Lucas, Reverend Hale. Once, someone crossed the street to avoid me. Looked me in the eye and whispered, murderer. My reflection is the worst part. Every day it changes. My hair, my jawline, the scar I swore wasn't there yesterday. Sometimes, it doesn't even move with me. I shave in silence now, never looking up, because I'm afraid that one day, it'll just watch. 2 nights ago, I woke up in someone else again. A man in a crumbling house on the edge of a forest. The wallpaper was peeling, and the air reeked of rot and lavender. There were candles everywhere, hundreds. And in the center of the living room, a shrine made of bones, dolls, old Polaroids. Every photo was of me, but different, laughing, crying, bleeding, smiling. In one, I was being hanged. In another, I was eating something that looked human. A plaque at the top read, "The Devourer of Faces." My heart froze. My hands trembled. The man whose body I was in. He began to scream, not with his mouth, with mine. I ran from the house, but the trees whispered my name all the way out. Back in my apartment, or what I think is my apartment, I tried to piece it together. I made a timeline. Notes on who I've been, what I've seen, but the papers rearranged themselves. Names blur, dates change. Last night, I watched a video of myself I didn't record. I was sitting in a room, speaking into the camera. I'm not real, I said. I'm a library of borrowed lives. That's when I realized, maybe I've never been just one person. Maybe Thomas Vale is just the skin I'm wearing today. Maybe the real me died long ago. Tonight, I fell asleep with the lights on. Just for a moment. I woke up, and the room was darker than it's ever been. Not just night. This was absence. Black that eats the edges of your vision. I called out, but no echo returned. Then I saw it, the shape of my room. But wrong. The furniture reversed. The paintings flipped. My apartment mirrored. And there, lying in the bed, was me, sleeping, breathing softly. The real me, my real self. I reached out to touch him, and his eyes shot open. He looked right at me and smiled. His mouth moved, but it wasn't a whisper. It was a scream, silent but endless. And now I don't know if I'm the real one, or just the reflection that finally got out. Part 5, The Death Host. Thomas used to think it was madness. The dreams, the memories that weren't mine, the mornings that started with unfamiliar bruises or the phantom ache of a life I didn't live. But madness has limits. This goes deeper. The call came at 3:12 a.m. No name on the screen, just static. Until I heard a woman's voice whisper my full name. Thomas Vale. You're still alive. Good. I almost dropped the phone. She said her name was Delora. She didn't waste time with pleasantries. I've been tracking it. The echo route. You've seen what it does, haven't you? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Good. Then you know it doesn't stop. Not until there's nothing left of you except echoes. I asked her what it was, what it wanted. Her voice cracked like a dry branch over fire. It's not a demon, not a ghost. It's memory. Starving, ravenous memory. It collects lives, jumps body to body. And when it has enough, it returns to the first one. Yours. I laughed. I didn't mean to. But it came out sharp, broken. How do you fight something that eats identity? There's only one way, she said. Before the last merge, before it completes the cycle, you have to sever it. Destroy the body it's targeting. Your body. I thought she meant suicide. She corrected me. Not you. The you it's using now. The thing pretending to be you. The sleeper. The host. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I felt watched from every mirror, every dark corner of my apartment, like something was testing the skin I wore, like it was laughing through my own teeth. At dawn, I checked my arms for marks. Nothing. But in the mirror, for a split second, my reflection didn't blink with me. It smiled. Delora had told me where to meet, an old greenhouse outside the city, long abandoned. I found her there, wrinkled but sharp-eyed, with a scar running down her cheek like lightning frozen in flesh. She didn't look like someone who believed in monsters. She looked like someone who hunted them. She gave me something wrapped in velvet, a blade, not modern, ancient, blackened steel, cold to the touch. It only works if you're sure, she said. Hesitation gives it time. Doubt feeds it. I asked her how she knew all this. She didn't answer, just lifted her sleeve. Burns, deep, layered, like fingers had once clawed through her arm, looking for a way out. That night, I returned home. The city felt hollow. Lights flickered, faces blurred. As I climbed the stairwell, the air thickened, like walking into molasses. My heart knew, before my brain did, it was already here. I unlocked my apartment slowly, quietly. The TV was on, playing static. The fridge was humming, and in the kitchen, seated at the table, was me. Me, smiling, drinking coffee from my mug, the chipped one, with the faded "World's Okayest Writer" on it. Welcome home, he said. My voice, my cadence, but too calm, too worn. I didn't move. I couldn't. My hands were shaking, wrapped around the blade under my coat. You've come far, he said, but you already know how this ends. He stood. The same clothes, same scar on the knuckle, but the eyes weren't mine anymore. They were bottomless. You really think killing me will bring you back? He asked. You're not a person anymore, Thomas. You're an echo, just like the rest. I asked him what he was. I'm what's left when too many lives collapse into one. I'm the truth you've been running from. I am the root. I lunged. The blade caught the light, and for a second, it screamed. Not from him, from me. The sound tore through the walls. Photos shattered. The lights exploded. We fell to the floor. I drove the blade into his chest, once, twice, and he laughed as blood spilled across the tile. Too late, he whispered. We're already inside. The kitchen dissolved. Walls peeled like paper. My hands burned. My face twisted, blinked. And now I'm here, back in my bed, the sun rising, but I don't know if I'm the one who returned. My voice doesn't sound quite right. My hands feel older. The blade is gone. And on the kitchen table, There's a note. My handwriting. Thank you for coming home, Thomas. I needed the rest. Part 6. The final merge. You ever had one of those dreams? Where you see yourself, but you're not you. That's what it feels like. Every time. But this wasn't a dream. Not anymore. 2 Thomases now existed. One standing in the doorway, trembling, weapon in hand. And the other sitting calmly at my kitchen table, sipping from my favorite chipped mug like he owned the damn place. Because maybe he did. He looked up at me and smiled. Same face, same eyes, but not the same. Sleep well? He asked. His voice was my voice, only smoother, like the words came easier for him, like the tongue had had more practice. I didn't answer. I raised the knife. You're not me. Oh, he said, setting down the mug. I'm not? Then who are you? I stepped forward. The air shimmered. I could feel it. The root, the echo root, inside us both, curling tighter, pulling. He stood. And suddenly, I remembered things. Not from my life, from his. His childhood in New Hampshire. His first kiss, behind a movie theater. His panic attack during a house fire that killed his dog. I staggered. These aren't mine, I whispered. He smiled wider. They are now. We're almost complete. The room tilted. Memories poured into me. Thousands. Faces, smells, wounds. I felt myself bloat with identity like I was going to burst. You were always hollow, he said, walking toward me. That's why I chose you. The knife fell from my hand. He touched my face, and I saw it all. The echo root. A thing older than time, feeding not on flesh, but on who we are, slipping into cracks in consciousness, hijacking lives, becoming. Every night it wore a different mask, until it found the one too weak to resist, the one who'd lost too much to fight back. Me. And now, it was done. He whispered into my ear, "You're not real anymore." The world turned black. Then, a breath. A gasp. A light flickers. A man, not me, sits up in bed, drenched in sweat. Confused. He stumbles to the bathroom, flicks on the light, looks into the mirror. Doesn't recognize the face staring back, and as the fog on the glass clears, he hears my voice. Soft, gentle. It's your turn now. Somewhere out there, someone else just woke up with my face. If you're still here, maybe you're next. Or maybe you always were. If this story chilled you to the bone, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more horror that follows you into your sleep. And remember, you might not wake up the same tomorrow,